Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Coney, and he offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Massachusetts. Now, you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yeah, and this one I shared with a partner this year, so it was the first true double tour I did.
Awesome. So, and today you're going to be telling us about the Mount Tom Golf Course, right? So now give a general history of the Mount Tom Golf Course.
Well, it's located now where Wyckoff Park neighborhood is. It's neither a park nor a true neighborhood. It's a sub-neighborhood of 4 streets. And the golf course was put in as a place just to hit the ball around on cow pastures in about the year 1897. They didn't get its true first clubhouse until about 1899. And then it was worked on many times over. The clubhouse position changed 5 times, for instance. The neighborhood itself came in with houses in the year 1924, and that had to change the position of the golf course, so they had to move it upwards. And also Interstate 91 came in, and that had to move it around. So we'll be talking about a lot of these things. It's gone, but it's been renamed in some sense. Still in the same place, but not really. It's only in the upper part of it. So all these things hopefully we'll get to today.
Now, how can you have a tour on a golf course that is not only done, but also built over?
Well, we've had 2 tours over that place, and we could have a third if we want to. It's that filled with remnants that we can talk, and subjects that we can talk about. For instance, in the year 2022, we had a tour over that land for just talking about the Olmsted design properties that were there. The whole street design was Olmsted design. Several of the homes had landscapes that were Olmsted design. So we had that tour. This year, in the year 2023, we had a tour that just concentrated on the position of the golf course through the many decades, how it shifted around, where was hole number 1, where was the clubhouse at various times along the place. And we could have actually a third tour up there and a fourth tour up there. There's that many good things. The third tour can concentrate just on the houses itself. What kind of houses is there? The fourth tour can be a tour of just the trees that are there. And, you can always change the subject and change the route just a little bit, and you get a new tour. And that's all filled with beautiful things this whole neighborhood is.
Okay, now so quickly before we continue with the rest of the interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or want to sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. There he has both videos of the various stops along each tour, also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you are interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. Again, that's BOBCAT4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. Now, they are perfect for fun educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. They are also good for just getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, tell us about the locations of the clubhouse.
Okay, the first clubhouse was put in 1889. It was a transplanted tennis court clubhouse from the Library Park area. And they put it in for the golf. That one didn't last particularly long. In 1901, they got a real clubhouse going. And that one was put in as you enter from Northampton Street onto Mountain View Drive. On the right-hand side is now a house. And that was where the second clubhouse came in, the one that was built in place. Now, in 1922, as part of the Olmsted design golf course in the Donald Ross designed golf course area, you had to move that clubhouse. So the clubhouse moved to an area where is now Briarwood Drive. There was no Briarwood Drive at that point. So in 1922 it moved already, and that lasted to 1956. Then a new clubhouse was built on the very top of Mountain View Drive, about 3/4 of a mile up from Northampton Street. And that one didn't last long either. Remember, it's put in 1956. Why didn't it last? Well, the Interstate 91 came in, and they figured out it was too close to the highway. So, what they did was, not only did they have to move the clubhouse, or build a new one, but they had to rebuild the whole golf course and only use the upper part of it, make it from an east to west golf course, mostly into a north to south golf course. And the clubhouse had to go near Route 141. That was a big changeover. Now it's the fifth location. Now the fourth clubhouse, since it was almost brand new, it was only 10 years old. What they did with it, they cut it in half longitudinally, switched one over to the lot next to it, and then rebuilt both of them into homes. And so the fourth clubhouse became two homes. That is incredible. So people are living in former clubhouses. And so these locations has moved with the times, and contrast that with the Orchards Golf Course in South Hadley, where the golf course has stayed pretty much the same the whole 100 years, and the clubhouse has stayed pretty much the same for 100 years. But South Hadley is a community that doesn't change much, and Holyoke is a community that changes a lot.
So now tell us about the three stagger gates in Holyoke.
All right, there's three Steiger gates, one right in front of Albert Steiger's home. That was a beautiful homestead design gate, and it's made so well, it's now 100 years old, and it's still in beautiful condition. And that one is found on the top of Mountain View Drive at the intersection with Steiger Drive. That one is, of course, in front of his bungalow home from, it's even older than the gate itself. The bungalow home probably came in about the year 1912, I believe, 1913. Now, he bought the four home lots across the street from his bungalow home. And he kept it as a beautiful entry point for golf hole number one. And to make a nice, beautiful entryway for the golfers from the 1922 to 1956 clubhouse, which was on where Briarwood Drive was, he made another gate system. This one much smaller, but it's still in place. And this one went from the clubhouse up to hole number one. So the first two were one was homestead design, but the other one not, but they're on Steiger's land itself. Now the third one of all, this one is right off the former East Hampton Street, which is now called Route 141. There's a section called Old Southampton Street, which is only about a quarter mile long. And there, it's across the way from the entry point to the White Street Reservoir on Route 141. And if you go find that entry point, and instead of going to the north into the reservoir area, go to the south, and you find a parking lot there off of the old Southampton Road, and you will also find the gate. And that gate was on former Steiger land that Steiger had bought a long time ago, probably in the early 19-teens. And by the year 1929, he had made a donation to Holyoke Waterworks to make it part of the White Street Reservoir land. And he just told them to keep it a parkland. That's all I'm asking you. It's yours. And so, what happened was, the 1930s came around, and as a WPA project, a Works Progress Administration project, a new gate was made up there, very close in design to the first Steiger gate, except it was enormous. It's about 120 feet across. And it's still in decent condition It does, of all the three gates, it needs the most repairs, but hopefully that someday that will happen. All three are Steiger gates. They're called that. This one is now officially on golf course land, although the golf course is on the other side of the highway. And this one is on the only road that was called Steiger Road. And this one is by far the largest, biggest, and potentially the most beautiful of all.
Okay, now, so thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. You can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website, holyokecanaltour.org. Again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214 at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. And thank you for tuning in.